here at Harpers Ferry, it's a very historical place. Naomi loves, oh, she's not here. Naomi loves history on vacation. She really does. No, she don't. But we're here at this very historical place, and it's a very key place during the Civil War. If anybody knows anything about your history, Civil War history, Harpers Ferry was one of those places. And they had an armory here, and they made weaponry. You know, at the time it was, you know, slavery was a thing, right? Before the Civil War, a man by the name of John Brown, he had a hope and a dream to end slavery, and in doing so, he wanted to do his part. He said he had a word from God to pretty much storm Harpers Ferry and to take over and to get and to free some slaves that was in the town and all that stuff. So he took over the armory in the middle of the night. It was just a couple soldiers that was, you know, watching, was at guard or whatever, and he ended up taking over the armory. The military got involved, and they come in to stop him. Well, he barricaded himself, him and his men, and a few of the slaves that they had gotten out of here. They barricaded themselves in what is now, or what was then, the fire station. And I'll show you all that in just a minute. But that's what happened. And so I'm going to spend my time looking at this, enjoying it, because I've always been a Civil War buff, and here I am telling you on YouTube all about it. Let me go ahead and explain this to you real quick. They call this Harpers Ferry, and because again it's situated in the gap of the Blue Ridge Mountains and the confluence of the Shenandoah and the Potomac rivers, Harpers Ferry from its beginning functioned as a natural avenue of transportation. First mode of travel consists of a primitive ferry established in 1733 by Peter Stevens. Stevens. All right, y'all. Believe it or not, we're actually walking the Appalachian Trail right now.
Yes.
We're on. Danielle says she's hiking. We're on the Appalachian Trail. Woo! We're just gonna hike about 1/8 of a mile of it, and that's it. All right, so right here is Harpers Ferry. This is the town. We're gonna go up to the top there in a little bit. That's where Thomas Jefferson, I think it was, where he stood. Jefferson Rock up there. And over here on the left, you can barely see it right here. You can barely see this building at the railroad tracks. That is where John Brown, that is the building in which they were in when they were barricaded in there. And it didn't originally stand there. It stood over here on the right, and I'll show you all that in just a minute. They actually took that building apart when it was over here before the railroad was built. They took that building apart brick by brick, and they took it to, I believe it was Chicago, Illinois, and reassembled that building. And then they kept it there for a few years during the Civil Rights Movement and all that stuff. And then they took it back down and brought it back to Harpers Ferry. And when they did that, the railroad was already in place, so they had to put it somewhere different. So they put it where it is now. And I'm going to turn around and show you where it is. It's right there. So here's the building right here. That, go ahead and turn it toward the building. This is the fire station. This is where John Brown was at. He was in here with all of his raiders. And this is where they were at. Now when this thing all happened, again, the building was moved. But these aren't the original doors. But they were using ladders to try to breach these doors. And so they used a ladder. Army men was trying to breach this door right here. They made a hole in this door. Took a while. They made a hole in it. They shot it, you know, shot that door. Finally, they made a little hole. Hit it with a ladder, busted up in a hole. Of course, these doors were shut. There was a hole in it big enough to fit a man in. One of the soldiers came in this door. There was a fire truck right here in front of me. Where I'm standing at, there was a fire truck here. That soldier come in, got on the ground, went under this fire truck. He was under this fire truck. He saw an opportune moment. He seen John Brown over here in this crevice. He seen John Brown. There's John Brown. He was huddled down. He was crouched down. Of course, these doors were shut. He come out from under this fire truck. Come out and seen him. He pulled his sword out, right? He went straight toward John Brown and he lunged at him. When he lunged at him, whatever John Brown had on his chest, maybe a small breastplate, it bent the sword. So when he went to stab him, it bent the sword over. So guess what happened after that? they began to get into a little tussle. They started fighting and wrestling, fighting and wrestling. Finally, all the other soldiers busted in here and they captured John Brown and all these men in here. They captured all of them, right? And they ended up killing a couple of them. But then they ended up, what's the word? They hung him. They hung John Brown. Can't believe it, but they did. But anyway, that's the story. That's how it all happened. But but this building, again, this building wasn't sitting here. This building was sitting over there next to that little memorial monument thingy over there. But really cool history. Not many people really know it, but you can read about it, or you can do the reenactment like me and Jacob just did. This hill right here was not here in the 1800s. This was here. It was all flat, and that's where the armory sat. And then John Brown, the building back here behind us, used to sit right there where the monument is. And here is the monument. If you took all the dirt that we're standing on, if you took it all the way down to the level of the road down there and where people were walking, this monument, whoop, was right there. Now they call it John Brown's Fort, even though it was a fire station. They called it John Brown's Fort because he basically turned it into a fort. But again, there's the building he was in. And they barricaded themselves in there and tried to hold it out as long as they could until the army got to him. Oh, this is my element. Y'all know this, right? Because my metal detecting stuff. They actually came in here and excavated to go down to and they found some stuff that was covered up, and they dug these trenches and stuff. Archaeologists did, and this is what they found. They found toothbrush, and they found, looks like a little tag.
And a par 3's weight. What's
that's
that?
That's a pipe.
Pipe bowl. A file modified into a wrench.
Comb. A file modified to a wrench.
A printer type. That's probably right there.
Yep, probably. No, these are printer types.
These are lice comb.
That's a comb. These are printer types because it has a letter right there.
And this is the apothecary's weight.
Okay. Well, that's really cool.
A lice comb. I've never heard of one of those.
Yeah, lice comb. Get to get lice out. And then they found this plate right here, or at least part of one. That's really cool. And then look here. This is stuff that they found also, seeing that it's Civil War related. Here's a buckle or a box plate. That went over their chest. I can't remember what they called that. What does it say?
Eagle breastplate.
Yep, the breastplate.
Bullets.
Your bullets. That was your
Uniform
infantry
insignia.
Numbers and stuff.
Is
Yep.
Is that uniform?
Look at that.
insignia?
That's a bugle horn.
Yeah.
Mouthpiece. And they found all of that here. That is so cool. What they were actually making. It says mere machines of labor. They were making parts like this for muskets. U.S. Harpers Ferry. Boy, that'd be cool to find a gun that had U.S. Harpers Ferry on it and it had the year 1858. Man, that would be sweet. Man, that is cool. But that's what they were making here. They were making those parts for weapons for the military. There's a sign right there. The Lewis and Clark sign. That house behind it was Meriwether Lewis's house. Lewis of Lewis and Clark lived right here in this town. I did not know that. We're gonna go look at the house. Man, this is cool, y'all. I'm standing on history. American history right here. President Jefferson's instructions to Captain Lewis, June 20th, 1803. Y'all, this is so cool. I mean, I never realized that all this was here. I mean, right here in West Virginia. I mean, you think of West Virginia, but I don't know. I think of West Virginia, I think of my family up there in the Charleston area, where it's just rugged mountains and not like this. I mean, when I think of West Virginia, I don't think of like Charleston, South Carolina history. But here it is. I mean, Lewis and Clark. Lewis lived in this house. I mean, what in the world? That is so crazy. I mean, I'm standing on history. There's probably relics in this ground. There's probably all kind of cool stuff in this dirt that I could find with a metal detector. I mean, That's what kind of history we're looking at. I mean, all these old buildings is just amazing. I love it. We're in this candy store and we're looking at the historical candy.
These look good.
Ancient and biblical. Fragrant flavor used for food, drink, and to soothe the stomach.
This was the supposed manna that God sent.
Oh yeah, here we go. Donuts. Here's their donuts they were eating.
No, we have put those in the car.
Man salwa. This ancient sweet is rich with flavor, texture, and meaning. Made over 2,000 years ago, it is considered the food God gifted to Moses and the people of Israel to sate their hunger. Perfect with tea, coffee, or as a snack. Ingredients: sugar, water, gelatin, cornstarch, flour, cardamom, and pistachios. Harpers Ferry, you know, it's just that one street or two that's on the flat. Everything else is on an incline. So we've made our way up a little bit up an incline. There's some more buildings right here on our left, and there's an old church up here. We're gonna see it, but there's an old rock wall right here. Pretty cool now. Spring houses and root cellars. Look here. These small caves carved into the shale cliffside at one time served as spring houses and root cellars for the residents of this block. That's pretty cool. I'll let you look at it. Probably not a lot of light for you to see it, but maybe you got to see it there. But they're doing a little bit of renovation on this old house right here. But we're going to go up the hill here. There's an old church. You want to see it? We're going up to a portion of the Appalachian Trail, and this is Jefferson Rock. Thomas Jefferson actually stood up here years ago. Naomi's excited about walking upstairs. She gave me a look. Why she gave me a look? Do what?
I said, why do you think?
Oh man, fun stuff. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of stairs, but I want to see it. It's history. There's a building over here with ruins. This building was used as like a hospital during the Civil War. It suffered a lot of damage. Y'all, there it is. That's where the old Thomas Jefferson stood. Over on that rock. We're gonna go see a couple more of these buildings, and we're gonna finish up here. Then we're gonna take you guys to the Antietam battlefield. Now, whether that's all on one video or a separate video, I'm not sure. But we're going to the Antietam battlefield after this today. It says to examine closely. All right, so as we have already told you about the armory, this is tools and stuff, tooling and machines they use to make guns. Now, if you look right over there, I'll pull the camera up. You can see that rifle barrel being made, or the rifle stock being made there for an old musket, and that's what they use these machines for, and making barrels and parts and things like that. You got the machine here. It makes it's a 2-spindle drill press for making the lock, and then you got a milling machine right here to make the lock, stock, and barrel. It's pretty neat, y'all. It's really neat how they took some of the relics from that day, brought them in here to preserve them so we can see them today and understand how they built rifles back then. When we were in Disney, he went underneath the monorail, right? He had to go under there too so he could see it. But you can actually see it here. You can see underneath the train. That is cool. Yeah, this train just decided to show up right at the very end, right when we got here. All right, y'all, we just got dropped off by the buses back up here at the visitor center. It's time to go get on some lunch. We're gonna pull out that picnic basket, and we're gonna go find us some picnic tables. It says there's some down here along the river. So we'll go eat, and then we're gonna try to go hit that Antietam battlefield.
Bye.